Hello everybody, Yom Tov. I know it's not Monday, it's Tuesday, but I'm beginning to feel like the days are just sort of merging now. It's been so long since it's felt like anything it's like everything's fluid, it's like everything's morphing. Do you know what I mean? Everything seems to be sort of morphing into each other, like this floating around in gel, that sort of thing. We just seem to go from one week to the next and just floating about, just waiting for things to happen and what have you. Anyway, how are you guys? I hope you are all well, no matter where in the world you are. I hope you've had a good day. I hope you've had a good start to your week. If you haven't, then I hope that the rest of your week will get better. Because, I've actually sort of nicked that from my friend Angie. Because I heard her say, if you've had a bad day, then I hope tomorrow is a better one. And if you've had a good day, then that's fantastic. I know I'm not quoting her verbatim, but I listened to that and I thought, you know what, that's a genuinely nice thing to say to people. So I'm adapting it to use myself. I'm not nicking it entirely from her, but let's put it this way, I was inspired by her. So if you do happen to watch this video, and Angie Love, thank you for the inspiration. I really do appreciate it. Unlike other channels, which are less imaginative than our own, if we do borrow something, then we acknowledge it. We don't just claim it as our own and use it ad infinitum. But that's another story for another time. It's been weird since I saw you last on Friday. I've been trying to play catch up. I had a surge of energy on Saturday leading into Sunday. I mean, as you know, Saturdays and Sundays are family time in our household. And the paint that we bought practically nearly at the start of the lockdown, I decided to get off, being in the chair, figuratively speaking, get off my lazy backside and do some painting with the roller. And I've got a stick, that I can put the roller on and reach up high, or as high as I can get. And over Saturday and Sunday, I have painted the bathroom. Hubby's going to do the ceiling and the very tops of the walls that I couldn't quite reach. But apart from that, he'll probably get on with that this weekend. But I painted the bathroom Saturday and Sunday. Now, yesterday, I was so stiff. It was painful. And I was all bloated and everything hurt, as things like that tend to do. Today, it's been joint pain, neck pain, back pain, anywhere pain. You point at it, it hurts. And I thought, okay, one day I can't do anything. I just cannot move. So just got to let this thing, run its course. But of course I forgot that having the problems with my neck, sorry, and my back, and then with fibro on top and arthritis everywhere, that it takes me all day to do what I used to do all day. I know a lot of that's got to do with the aging process, and the rest of it's got to do with health conditions. So I wasn't exactly a fit bunny to sit in front of a camera yesterday. I mean, I could have done it, but you would have been absolutely horrified at what was sitting in front of you. But never mind, I'm here today. So by now you will have watched Ronnie's reading video. And I hope that goes down okay, I really do. I'd already done a couple of readings, because I've been up all night again. And was doing some readings during the night, trying to play catch up. I don't know what's happened, but can I just let everybody know who's watching this? YouTube are not sending me any notifications that I am getting comments on my videos. That's all stopped now, and it frightened the hell out of me when this started. A good few weeks ago now it started. And I thought, I don't know if anybody's watching, and nobody's saying anything. And oh my God, what am I going to do? To find out that when I came back into my videos, there'll be a host of comments sitting there waiting for me. Well, what I didn't know, going back 2 weeks ago, was that people had left me comments asking for readings, and I didn't see them till today. So I've had to apologise, tell them that it's YouTube, and that I'll get back to them as soon as I can. But in the meantime, I've got requests and readings coming through on Twitter. And I am now playing catch up. So I'll put out another reading tonight. Instead of making a Revital wait for it next week, I'll put that one out tonight. Because next week, I'm trying to remember who it is who comes next, and I cannot for the life of me remember who comes next. All I can say is, if you have requested a reading and if I haven't answered you, would you please write it again in the comments? I am more than happy to read for everybody. Obviously, I'm going to need time to get round to do the readings for you. But if you could just please put it in the comments, and I promise you will get your reading. Well, I've been getting requests from people who, I don't know whether they're friends of people from the Haven, but I'm getting requests from people I've never spoken to before, asking me for a reading. And the thing is, I don't know if they are Haveners who've never spoken up. And I'm not quite sure how to approach it, really, because I don't want to frighten anybody away. I don't want to say, if you're not a Havener, I'm not doing it. Because, let's face it, I mean, we've got to be realistic here, right? I do this for nothing. I do it because I do love doing it, but I am not a psychic. I am not a medium, more of an extra large, you know. No, just me. Okay then. But all I am is an empath, and I can give you what I feel and sense from spirit. And I use the cards only as a tool. I try and use my intuition as much as I can. I mean, the cards help, obviously they do. And I feel that when a card jumps out, especially if it's from an oracle or a spirit animal, then it's meant to happen for that person. It seems to fit what it is that they want to hear, or a message that they want an answer for. At least I hope that's how it comes out. But some tarot readers who are highly experienced, who are much better than I am at reading, do tend to charge a lot that people can't afford. So when they see the word free, and especially if they need guidance, and they've got nobody else to turn to, and they don't have the money to pay, a professional card reader, then they are going to turn to someone like me. And I don't mind helping anybody. But all I can say is, I can't read for you that day and give you your reading that day. You may have to wait for a week up until a fortnight to get your reading. Because, to record a reading takes a good half an hour. And it takes a lot out of me. And I can't just sit and do one reading after another. I've got to rest. I've got to recharge my batteries. And, I do have a family as well. So all of you have been very, very good. You've been very patient. You've been very kind with your comments. I couldn't be more grateful. But I have said I can't read on health reasons, and I can't read legal issues. I can't read on either of those two things. But I will try, with just about anything else. I will try, but obviously I can give no guarantees. And I do have to say that it is for entertainment purposes only, over 18s. God, I keep forgetting to put that in the description. I am terrible. I've got to keep reminding myself to do that. So, like I said, so if you're older reading, please put it in the comments. I will make a note of it, and I promise you will get your reading. And, if you don't want it made public, if I can't send it to you on Twitter, then I'm going to need a email address. That's it, email address. Right, so I've noticed a few things today going on in the world, and it makes me wonder just how much we're going to have to put up with. I've heard that the bubonic plague has been found in a squirrel in Colorado. And that's frightened the heck out of me. Because the bubonic plague can spread like wildfire. If you get a squirrel that's bitten your dog or your cat, and they pass it on to you. I mean, I'm not quite sure how the bubonic plague spreads, but it can't be a good thing. So the health authorities are really going to have to get their act together in Colorado. So if any of my havens are in Colorado, please stay safe and don't go near any squirrels. Run for the hills if you see a squirrel. I don't know if it's red ones or grey ones or whatever it is, or any or all squirrels. I just don't know. But that's horrific. Because on top of the COVID, oh, bugger it, I've said it now. On top of that disease, do you know what, guys? I am sick up to here, with not saying things or not saying the right things or not doing this right, not doing that right, not being politically correct here, there and everywhere. And you can't say one thing for saying the wrong thing. And if you think you're saying the right thing, it turns out it's the wrong thing. And then out of 10 people, 9 might be happy at what you say, and 1 gets offended. And it's wearying. It's really hard to try and keep on top of and to try and make everybody happy. I heard a story today that really upset me. In Indiana, there's been a girl, I think she was 24, and there were some people standing around, I think it might have been out in a store, talking about Black Lives Matter. And she said, well, yeah, but don't all lives matter? And somebody pulled a gun on her. So her partner pulled a gun on the person who was pulling the gun on the girl. There was sort of a standoff. And as she walked away, someone took aim at her and shot her and killed her. She's got a little boy of 3. Now he doesn't have his mummy anymore. And I'm coming to you guys to try if you can get me to understand. When I said to you, when I did the video about George Floyd, and I said to you that all lives matter, because they do, we're all human. But on that particular day, at that particular time, it was extremely important to say that Black lives matter. And of course they do. But the bottom line is, and this is just my opinion, that's all it is. I know some of you won't agree with me, and that is absolutely fine. We can all be kind and respectful to each other while we can disagree with each other's statements. That is absolutely fine. You know, we can all stay friends afterwards. Just somebody will believe one thing and somebody will believe something else. And it's like having a healthy exchange, you know, and we can voice our opinions and then get on with our lives. But has it come to the point where someone can't say all lives matter without fear of being shot? I don't know about you, but I think that's frightening. You know, where I live, there are an awful lot of Nigerian people, right, who come over from Nigeria. And I believe from the Gambia and from Ghana. Might be a few other places, but majority of them are from Nigeria. And I would like to think that if I was to engage in conversation with one of them, I would say to them, I definitely do agree. Black lives do matter. Of course they do. But the bottom line is, we are all human. And all our lives matter. And yes, bad things happened in the past. But that was then. And this is now. And it's what happens now is what's important. What happened back then was horrific. It was unforgivable. There are no words to describe how bad it was back then. But, you know, we're now coming up to nearly 200 years ago. I mean, it's been nearly 200 years since Britain, you know, decided that they made a new law, and it was to abolish slavery. Now, what I didn't know was that the King of Benin and another one, which begins, oh goodness, I'm sorry, I'm absolutely no good at geography. But there was, I do remember it was the King of Benin, and there was another king, African king, who wrote to the British government at the time, so that'd be in the 1830s, and wrote and said, would Britain please change its mind about abolishing slavery, because it meant that the Kingdom of Benin wouldn't, you know, be able to enjoy the financial benefits that slavery brought to them. Now, it made the King of Benin very, very rich. He sold his own people into slavery. Britain wanted to abolish slavery. He was determined to get Britain to change her mind and go back on our word. I think that is completely horrific and unforgivable. This was an African king who wanted to continue to put his own people into slavery for financial gain. Now, I don't know about you, but yes, Britain made our mistakes in the past. Now, I can't talk about American stuff. I mean, I do know that after the Civil War in America, I do know that slavery was abolished then, but I'm not very well caught up on American history, right? I can only talk about British history. And yes, before 1832 and 1833, when Britain was changing its laws with regard to slavery, yes, it was a horrible thing that was happening. Completely unforgivable, should never have happened. You know, man selling another man. And it's still happening today. It's still happening in parts of Africa. And it's still happening in Saudi Arabia. It's happening in the Arab states. I know there are slaves. I can't remember exactly. Well, it's definitely a Saudi country. And they advertise for workers from Bangladesh and the poorest in Pakistan. And I've seen the most horrendous videos about people being beaten and kicked because the master's been in a bad mood. This is the 21st century, and it's still going on. And slavery should be banned all over the world. But if you look at history, right back into biblical times, you know, the Jewish people were sold into slavery. You know, we were sold into slavery to the Egyptians, and then we were sold again when we were taken into Babylon. So the Jewish people have known slavery, or even though, yes, it was in biblical times, but there have always been slaves. The Romans had slaves. The Greeks had slaves. You know, it's been going right through history. And yes, I think that there should be huge apologies all round. But I did want to tell you this. In 1833, Britain had to pay reparations for slavery and putting right wrongs. And they had to take out massive loans to pay these off. Do you want to know when they finished off paying those loans off? 2015. And that was from 1833. It took them nearly 200 years to pay off those loans. And I've heard that Barbados wants an apology from Britain and financial reparation. Now, and I can't comment on that because I don't know enough about it. And I'm not going to spout off on things that I don't know enough about because I don't want to look like an idiot. But I mean, I lost family in the Holocaust, right? But I am not going to constantly say that the German people have got to atone every single day of their lives for something that happened 70 years ago, 80 years ago. You know, it's got to stop somewhere. And I certainly, you know, I'll be quite honest with you. I've known some Germans in my time. They've never done me any harm. They do say that they don't think they should be held responsible for what their forefathers did, even though they thought what they did was wrong. And, you know, I've had people say to me, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to say sorry to you every time I see you. And I just have to accept that. And I also believe that there comes a time where you've got to draw a line in the sand so we can all move forward. Because if we keep on living in the past, we are never going to make any progress. We are never going to make any changes. We are never going to learn from history. And we are never going to make our lives better. And we're never going to make the world a better place. And that is just my opinion. You know, and earlier I was going to have a right old rant about all of this. But I think I've had quite a busy day, and not having slept all last night, you know, I've sort of toned down and mellowed down a little bit. But I don't know, guys. It just seems to me that we really do need to take control of our present while we acknowledge the past, because it's very, very important to acknowledge the past. But this is what people were like then. We are nothing like those people back then. And I do think that it is, I mean, yes, if there are apologies need to be made, then make them. And be genuine and be sincere. And if there is anything that you can personally do to make someone who has been wronged, if you can do something to give them faith, to give them their faith back, then do it. right? But then acknowledge that we have to look after our present. You know, acknowledge that there's work to be done, and then plough ahead to make a better future for all of us. And that brings me on to one final thing that I want to say before I go. I do not agree with what Harry and Meghan said about the Commonwealth. They have no idea what they're talking about. Harry thought Ireland was in the Commonwealth. Ireland's never been part of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth came about in 1949, and it was working with George VI at the time, the present Queen's father. The empire had gone, right? And there were all these countries scattered all over the world that used to have the pink markings on it to show that it was part of the Great British Empire, right? But we're not an empire anymore. But it was brought about, how about we go for a Commonwealth of Nations where you can voluntarily join so that you can make progress, you can have prosperity, you can have peace, you can have justice, you can have democracy, and, you know, lean on each other in times of need, be there for each other. If one country has a crisis, all the other nations chip in to help out. So that's how the Commonwealth came into being. I mean, I know I'm oversimplifying it, but I mean, we've got countries in the Commonwealth now that were never part of the empire. They just weren't there. You know, and we also sort of police the Commonwealth. So there was something where Pakistan was doing things that weren't in line with Commonwealth policies. So they were kicked out until they made their changes. And once they made their changes, they were allowed back in. You know, it's all about equality and looking out for each other. And like I said, I'm oversimplifying it. But what the Queen has done since she took over the throne in 1952 is that she's gone on to visit all the Commonwealth countries, and she's more or less built the Commonwealth up from scratch, taken over from our father, and she made it our life mission to look after the Commonwealth. And she genuinely loves being head of the Commonwealth. She really does. And keeping in mind, you know, she has to be voted in. She's not automatically head of them. They have got to want her as their head of state. And they all do. She had to go to them, I think it was early this year or late last year, and ask them if they would accept our son when it was his time to occupy the throne. Would they be willing to accept him as head of the Commonwealth? And they all agreed. So she just doesn't take things for granted. And Harry and Meghan are attacking one of the things that the Queen genuinely loves. And I'm beginning to wonder, is this really them, you know, as president and vice president of the Commonwealth Youth? Are they really trying to help it out? Or is this an attack designed to hurt not only their Queen, but their grandmother and grandmother-in-law? Because I'm beginning to think everything they seem to do now hurts her. And I just keep thinking, that woman is 94. Prince Philip's 99. You know, we don't know how much longer Prince Philip's got. And here these two are going around saying, we're humanitarians, wave their arm with the piss, while coining it in at the same time, with no thought for what's going back on in Britain. Harry, this was his home. And he's kicked us all off like crap off his shoe. And I don't think it comes across particularly well, but I know some people don't care. But there are other people who do care. And these people are actually hurting because they love their queen. They genuinely love the queen. And they hate the fact that our grandson is hurting her. And they miss the older Harry. They really do. So, I don't know what to make of those two. I don't normally like talking about them, but with this thing about the Commonwealth and everything, you know, and apparently she's given a speech to Girls Go or Girls Up or something like that. But apparently you're not allowed to share it without running it past her team first. So you can't make a commentary on it. You can't share it. You can't look at it on YouTube. I've never heard anything like it. She's like a tyrant. I tell you what, for all my American haveness, if one day she ends up being either running for president or running for vice president, all I can say to you is this. If you thought Hillary Clinton was bad, then I would get yourselves ready, because you need to brace yourself, because you're in for a bumpy ride. And on that happy note, I'm going to end this here. I am going to thank you all for listening to this old hag just yakking on at the rate of knots again, and yakking on for too long with hair that is becoming an absolute nightmare. And I think I'm seeing my hairdresser at the end of the month. So she's got nearly 2 inches worth of grey roots to deal with, plus this is supposed to be a fringe. I can't do anything with it anymore. I really can't. I'm just about despairing. But anyway, thank you for listening to me, guys. And it's been great sitting around the table with you. Like I said, you'll have already had a video from me today. Look for Ronnie. There will be another video sent out tonight. I'm going to upload this one now. And I will see you again very soon, because tomorrow it's your folk tales and fables. So we'll see where we are from around the world tomorrow, shan't we? So anyway, please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe, especially if you live in Colorado, and watch out for the squirrels. Just take care of yourselves. I'll love you all, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Take care, guys. Bye for now. Bye-bye.